Hey guys, welcome back to the Summer of Knives 2017. Alright, so if you've been watching the channel, you probably realize that I have changed the backdrop. No big deal. I finally had some pieces come in, so now you have a nice brown or tan backdrop as opposed to the dark black one that, by the way, was starting to get some holes in it. Hopefully the lighting's a little bit better. I tried to improve that as well, and I have a larger table. Alright, so let's get into this. So now, this is going to be the Summer of Knives 2017 bug out bag knife. Now, I know that's very subjective to the person, to what they think they need or what they are planning to do in a quote-unquote bug out situation. It also depends on where you live. Understanding a bug out, I'm going to go with a 72-hour bag, something that you're going to take with you in case of a natural disaster, a flood, a fire, whatever the case is. And you need to leave your home. I'm not talking zombie apocalypse. I'm not talking, you know, EMP or any of the doomsday prepper scenarios. A knife that you will take with you that you need to leave your house. Now, I know that the knives that are on the table are all fixed blade knives, and I do have set parameters when I put a knife inside my pack. I say knife inside my pack because ideally most people are going to be carrying a folding knife on them most of the time if you can in your state, all right, as long as your state law permits. You're not going to be carrying a large fixed blade knife. So if you had a bug out bag, 72-hour bag, or a bag that you know that you will not come home with for an extended amount of time, it only makes sense to carry something that you can do a lot of projects with. All right, my criteria is that it should be over 4 inches long. Okay, it should be a fixed blade. Hopefully, if you have a folding knife on you at the time that you have to leave and now you have a secondary blade, you can do all the chores that you needed to do. It should be low maintenance. Now, I know I love carbon steel. I'm a big carbon steel guy. If you are going to carry a carbon steel knife, you're going to have to carry some WD-40. You can use tallow, which is essentially animal fat, and there are a number there's tons of coatings out there if you need to coat your knife. Honestly, the only thing I do is I bring a little thing of WD-40, a Scotch-Brite pad, and a sharpening stone, and for me that works fine. No funky grinds. And when I say funky grinds, I mean if you've seen some of the grinds that people put on their knives, I call them like celebrity survivalists, where they have all these weird curves and saws and all this kind of crazy crap on there. It's not necessary in my opinion. If you want it, buy it, I don't care. But in my opinion, flat grind, hollow grind, you know, convex, simple, straight grinds. That's what you want. No recurves or weird funkiness or anything like that. Alright. The sheath. The knife sheath should be impervious to elements. Now, you can see on here you got some leather, you got some Condora. Condora is not too bad. Leather will get messed up if you leave it wet for too long. Ultimately, it's up to you. Now, I put leather preserver on them. You also have to understand that, I don't know, during the 17th, 18th century, or even 16th century, basically, everybody had a leather sheath. So what they did is they used preservants. Right now, we have some of the easiest preservants. You buy it in a bottle, you slap it on there, and it'll last for a while. Back then, it was probably some type of animal fat, but you can preserve your leather sheets, okay? If you're unfamiliar with that, definitely check it out. You could read up on it. Personally, I like Kydex the best. It's impervious, it doesn't rot, it doesn't get loose, I mean, unless you keep it in the sun. And it's ultimately lightweight, and you could always reform it if you needed to. So it's not a bad way to go. I like Kydex. Alright. You have to understand that the knife will be used for everything. So hunting, shelter, traps, defense, that kind of thing. That's why I say I think a 4-inch knife is nice, like I have here on the table. That's an SE4. It's an excellent blade, but for a self-defense option, I want something bigger maybe. And I know this sounds crazy, but you have to understand, if you're bugging out, there is going to be civil unrest. I don't know if you've been to Katrina or what was the last riots in Baltimore. People were murdering each other, looting, going crazy, civil unrest, natural disaster. It's a combination of everything. Without rule of law means without rule of law, meaning that the cops aren't going to be able to help you, all right? The firemen aren't going to be able to put out the fire because they're worried about the roving gangs. Something large enough to defend yourself with if you needed to. Ideally, a firearm is 10 times better, but if you had nothing, I would rather have a 6-inch blade than a 4-inch blade, okay? Also, traps, hunting, skinning. Large blades are excellent, and on the other spectrum, I love large blades. But large blades are harder to skin game with. It's harder to get inside the animal with, so you know you have to take that into consideration. All right. I do not like to strap my when you're bugging out. The thing is about bug out is that you're leaving, and you're going to be carrying a lot of crap with you. Weight becomes an issue with blades. Okay, so if you're carrying an axe, a saw, a multi-tool, some type of eating, spork, and then you're carrying your belt knife and then a folding knife, you can see how all these pieces of steel kind of add up. So you have to find a medium about it. A lot of people, what they do is they take one of these big knives, this is the R-Tech, all right, and then they strap it on the outside of your pack. And in a bug out, I really don't like that. I'm not a big fan of that. I want to have this secure inside of a pack, and I don't need people to see what I have. I want to be ninja, okay? I don't want people to know what I have in my bag, especially a knife that's 12 inches long. If I'm going to have that knife, it's going to be two places. It's either going to be tucked away inside my pack so it's hidden and concealed, or it's going to be on my waist ready to use. That's it. That's the only time I want that knife out. Alright, pick a knife that you can trust your life on. Now I know a lot of people are going to, oh, these Mora knives and these cheap Chinese knockoffs, and yeah, okay, I get it, I understand. If you cannot baton with your knife, if you cannot use it for heavy wood processing, and it's going to break, you cannot depend on that knife. Alright, so I don't care what you say. I know a lot of people say I'm going to go cheap on the Mora, throw it in my bug out bag because I got an axe and I got a saw. Okay, that's reasonable. I hope you're not using that Mora for anything than making traps and cutting game. And if you're doing that in that type of environment, then that's fine. Small task, great. Big task, no way. All right, pick a knife that you use regularly. So most people, they buy a knife, they like it, they ooh-ah, and they throw it in the safe, or they put it in a bag and they call it good. You have to use that knife. You have to know how it works, how it fits in your hand. If there's any type of hot spots, you got to bring it out to the field. You got to beat it up a little bit. I rather find that my knife does not work in a non-stressed, non-emergency situation than find out that it's too late and then my knife breaks and then I'm screwed. All right, use multiple tools. Okay, and the thing is with the clips now, or the point of the knife, I should say. This is the last parameter. The thing with the point of the knife, I know a lot of people like these Bowie knives, and that's great, and I like a Bowie knife too. But you ever try to baton with a Bowie knife or a double-edged blade? You're going to beat the hell out of that baton. You can do it, but you're kind of working against yourself. All right, so in that aspect, I'm kind of like, nah, not so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over these blades. I'll bring them into frame for you, and we'll go over the large blades first. All right, so you guys already saw this. This is the R-Tech 2, and I apologize if some of these knives you saw on my other videos, but again, this is the bug out edition, and I think a lot of these knives fit different criteria. So it's not just one fits all, and I'm not looking for the survival knife. I should say that these are not survival knives. These are knives that are going to last you for the rest of the time of your bug out. So if you bug out 72 hours, it's 72 hours. If it's a week, it's a week. If it's 3 years, it's 3 years. Okay, so understand that. Never plan for 72 hours. If you have enough food for 72 hours, that's great. You're going to have to start looking for other stuff as far as food procurement. This is the R-Tech 2. I love this blade. This is an excellent made blade. It is a full tang, all right? I love full tang knives, mostly because they are stronger than a rat tail or a stick tang. This will probably cost you about $100. It's made from 1095. It is coated and is very sharp. So this knife is excellent. I love this knife. I've actually put this inside my bug out bag a few times The problem with this knife is that it's very, very large. And if you're going to try to use it for small game purposes, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Alright, so that's the R-Tech 2. I like it for what it is. It's a big chopping blade, but for the small task, maybe not so much. Okay, so I'll put that on the side. This blade I've carried a lot, as you can see, and this is my Cold Steel Trailmaster. This has a lot of use on it. Alright, before they came out with the nice Secure-X sheath, I had to make my own, and this is a perfect bug out knife. Now I will say that it is carbon steel, so this will process game, this will defend your life, this will chop wood, this will do all of the above. But again, it's a big knife and it does have a Bowie clip, so depending on what you're trying to do, it's almost a little bit too big. But again, it's up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. This is another one of my favorites. This is the Swamp Rat. Very large blade knife. This is an offshoot of Bussy. Excellent blade, and it has this really nice handle, pumps like swell in there. It's really comfortable and has a clip here. This has a flat grind with a V edge. This is like the perfect. It's perfect. It has, I think there's about a 7-inch blade, so it might be a little bit too big, or an 8-inch blade. It's really big. But I had to make, again, a Kydex sheath for it of one of my own. Excellent blade, highly recommend it. Now I know it wouldn't be fair if I didn't bust out a kukri. Alright, you guys seen this in my other video. Now a kukri is good for a lot of things, and I know there's people, especially the Nepalese army, they use this for self-defense. You could use it as a jungle knife, you can make shelter with it, you can gut game with it, you can gut people with it. Excellent blade, but you got to understand that most kukris are very, very heavy duty. If you are someone that's going to carry a kukri, make sure that you know how to use it, make sure that you are proficient in it, and make sure you're willing to carry the weight, because this thing is not light. Alright, let's talk about some tops knives. This is the Armageddon. Again, excellent blade, very, very big. I wouldn't mind carrying this out in the field. It does have sort of a flat grind, but it starts here and it sweeps up. Excellent heavy duty blade, 1/4 of an inch thick, 1095. Not too bad on the sweep. Alright, so it does lend itself to a chopper. It does come with a Condora sheath. Now again, this type of knife needs to be inside your pack until you're ready to use it. And I don't know about you, but this is going to be pretty heavy. This is what I call the pants dragger. If you put this on your belt and your belt's not secure, it's going to weigh you down. So make sure that you are okay with that. This is another Tops Knives. Probably haven't seen this one. Alright, I think they call this the Anaconda. I'm not really sure. This is made by Hood's Woods. So if I get the name wrong, I apologize. They do make this in a tanto point, but I wanted the edge because it's a lot easier. And that's the thing with tantos. Tantos are great when you have all the tools in the world and all the time in the world, but they're not great when you are someone that is out in the field and using river rocks. All right, and I highly recommend, if you are going to bring a knife this big out to the field, or any of the knives, bring a sharpening stone. They're very cheap right now. Even the cheap ones you get from Smith's with the little V edge. Excellent blade, highly recommended. 1095. Tops always makes really good stuff. You know, G10, sorry, my color scales, all that kind of great stuff. Now, if you are a Becker fan, which I know most people are, you're going to see this in a lot of people's bug out kits. All right, this is the Becker. I think it's 1095 chromium, so it's a little bit different. It's not exactly a 1/4 of an inch thick, which makes it a lot lighter. The only thing I don't like about these handle scales is, although they're comfortable, they're very, very slick. And I know they make micarta handles for this. You just buy them and then you can just slap them on, which is really nice. So you have 1, 2, 3, you just get the Allen wrench and you take it out. It does have a modified Bowie clip on top, which is not sharpened, but this is an excellent woods blade. And again, if you are someone that's bugging out, this is not a bad blade. It is full tang, which I'm a big fan of. It is carbon steel, but it is coated. Really nice. And the sheath itself isn't that bad. It does have a little bit of stiffness on it. Let's see right there. It's made by Keybar, and it does have a snap in here, I believe. Yep, it has a snap in there. So you can put it on your belt, you can latch it to any type of pack if you want. But, alright, and then inside here, I think this has a pocket, so if you want to put your survival kit or even your sharpening stone, you can. Excellent, excellent blade, highly recommended. Now, if you look for a little bit of cheaper option, we talk about Kershaw, and I know you've seen this before. This is Kershaw's camp sets. This is what I mean by large sweeping belly. Now, if you already went with the kukri, you don't have to worry about this because the kukri is probably the biggest one you're going to see on this table. This knife, very comfortable. It is made, I'm pretty sure it is not a carbon steel. I think it's stainless steel. Kershaw makes this. I think this is about 13 inches blade, something like that. Very small camp chopping knife, but again, if you are not practiced with this, so you are somebody that does not know how to skin game, trying to skin game like this is going to be very difficult. You can do it, and I know the traditional tribesmen do it. They do everything with their machetes. You can do that, but it's going to be very difficult. Alright, the handle is very comfortable, and if you're looking for a large fixed blade, this will do you right. Alright, again, over 4 inches. The sheath itself, hard plastic, really nice. It does come with a belt loop. Okay, so really cool knife. I like that one. All right, let's talk about more realistic size blades. I wanted to go over the big blades first because I think it's important. I myself am a knife maker. If you have not checked it out, please go to threeriverblades.com. This is the blade that I make. All right, this is called the Wilderness Bowie. It is made out of 52-100. It does come with the saber grind, full tang. It's got my stamp on there, finger choil, the whole thing. The blade itself is about 7 inches, 7-inch blade, and the handle is very stout. Comes in my Carter. I can do bluing on this. Now I will say that I've carried this in the field. It's not too heavy. Being a 1/4 of an inch thick, I'm sorry, 3/16 inch thick, it's a little bit thick. So I understand some people don't want to deal with that weight. But for an overall knife, for chopping, for cutting, for self-defense, for skinning game, for all that stuff, this is a great knife. Now the sheath itself, I did not make. This is made by Harper Leathers. Mine usually comes with a Kydex sheath. Again, I went with the red because this one is mine. If you wanted a different color, you can go with a different color. You can go up to threeriverblades.com and check out all the stuff that you have up there. Another one of my blades, and this is mostly the one that I carry almost all the time when I go out into the field. This is the Mark I Scalp. It is made of 154 cm. 154 cm is a stainless steel, again 3/16 inches thick, and you can see the handle is very thick on this, which makes it very comfortable. This is not a bushcraft knife, this is everything knife. It does have a sweeping edge to it. As you can see, it has a nice drop point, very comfortable in the hand, sharpening notch. Now the blade on this is 5 inches, so it's a 5-inch blade with a 5-inch handle, has very good balance. With this knife, I could do everything, okay? So it's not necessarily a killing knife or, you know, just for traps. It could do everything. If I wanted to chop down small saplings, no problem. I'm just gonna have to, can I baton with it? Yeah. Can I gut game and fish? Yup. Is it low maintenance? Yes. 5-inch blade, big enough. So excellent blade. Mine come with Kydex sheath, and it has a belt clip on it. Alright, so if you're interested in that, please go to threeriverblades.com, check it out. Alright guys, so now let's talk about the other options that are available. When it comes to bug out knives, you're probably thinking about something like this. Alright, this is what typically they would call a survival knife, bug out knife. This is the SE5. Okay, very stout, quarter of an inch, very thick, heavy duty blade. It can do all the criteria that I said. It is SE5, and this is probably the thickest one they sell. All the other ones are a little bit thinner. The sheath itself is very nice because it is a locking Kydex sheath. I also put this backer on it, which you can put it to your pack or your gear. It does come with a belt clip, all kinds of great stuff here. You can also put a pouch on here, which is also sold by Randall or SE Knives, and it comes with the tin, and you put your survival gear in there. Now here's one of those things I'm going to tell you about. Anytime you come up with a rig like this, it adds weight. This is an excellent knife. You can beat the hell out of it. I've never seen one break before. You know, it has a pommel in the back and lanyard and all this great stuff. These knives are great. They're very heavy. So again, you have to realize that when you are making a bug out kit or a bug out bag, you're going to carry a whole bunch of other stuff as well, not just this knife. So if you are someone that's, we're going to go to the woods and just use knives, this might be the kit for you. If you're carrying all your other kit, it might be a little bit too heavy. Now this is the SE4, which is the smaller version. And again, 1095, excellent blade, really nice, comfortable micarta. I think this is canvas micarta. They also make an SE3, which in my opinion is way too small for a bug out kit. If you're looking for a smaller knife, this is probably the knife I would go with. This is the smallest knife I would go with as a fixed blade for your bug out kit. Alright, it dodees come with a Kydex sheath, and it does have different backing options. This just happens to have a clip. And again, if you wanted to, you can even attach that pouch. Alright, it's made for that. That's why they are so universal. You can do a lot of things with these SE knives. So great knife, lightweight compared to this. It's like night and day. Alright, so this is a little bit thicker, lighter, get it? So I understand that, and maybe this is great if you want to, you know, someone that's smaller stature, or maybe your wife. This would be an excellent blade. This is the SE. Let's see if I can pull it out without cutting myself, because it is left-handed. I changed it to left-handed. This is the SE6. Alright, so the SE6 has a 6-inch blade. No kidding. Little thinner steel. You're looking at 5/32, 1095. It is a full tang knife. And this one I created as a left-hander. So you can see that everything's on the left-hand side. You would be holding it like this, as opposed to the SE5, which is a right-hander. Now, I'm not trying to dual wield blades, but what I'm trying to say is that if you're like me and carry a firearm on your right hand side, you might want your bug out bag knife or your escape or survival knife to be on your left hand side. What it does is it balances out the weight. Okay, nice option. This is a plastic injected molded knife sheath, and all this stuff came with the knife, so can't go wrong with an SE6. Now if you're totally against having a smaller knife, this is the SE7. So this one I don't think you've seen before. It's a 7-inch blade. So you can see, you can get, now the funny thing about this is that this is a 7-inch blade, but it is miles lighter than the SE5. And if you're looking for a large, thin blade that can do all the work and have a, you know, basically great knife overall to do all the tasks that I have just described, this is an excellent blade. And this one comes with a Condora sheath, which by the way is not all that bad. I've seen really flimsy Condora sheaths. What I like about this is it does come with the snap on it. Very, very basic Ontario. Alright, so, and again, you know, you're not going to beat any of the Ontarios. They're great blades. This one, again, is the Laser Strike. This one is fairly new. It's an SE/LS. Now this was designed specifically for a survival knife or bug out knife. Okay, so this ain't so bad. 1095, again, it has a little different handle. It's a little bit more ergonomic. You can pull back here if you want, and you can bring it up front, and it's not too heavy. What I do love about this is that the Kydex sheath and all the clips come with it. This has on it, you see this little washer? This little washer is to act like a screwdriver. And this knife, if you take the handle scales off, has a little bit of a survival kit inside here. So it has some fire starter, some tinder, that kind of thing. So, and that comes all in one little package. So as far as a bug out knife, this is really tops. I mean SE, not tops, but it really works very well. It has the right size blade. It has some survival kit in it. The sheath is impervious. great, excellent overall blade. So good on you, SE. I'm a huge fan of SE blades. All right. Let's talk about, again, Becker. Now this is the Becker BK2, and I must have seen this in more videos than any other video on the planet. This is made by Keybar. Very thick, 1/4 of an inch thick steel. I think that this knife in itself is basically a pry bar. You cannot kill this knife. This is an excellent thick knife. I think the ergonomics are great. It's a big thick piece of steel. The sheath itself is phenomenal. It's got a nice lockup, and you can use it as a damn pry bar. So I mean, overall, you're really not going to go wrong with the BK. If you're interested in that knife, again, make sure, guys, if you are going to buy any of these knives, that you go down to the link below for the Amazon store. Help me out, because I'm doing all this work for you. Alright, so again, here's another one. It's more of a bushcraft style knife. This is the Dave Canterbury. I think they call it the PSK, something like that, or no, it's I'll get the name, I'll annotate it, but excellently. The only thing I don't like about this is the fact that it is a scandium grind. Now, Scandinavian grind, or Scandi grind I should say, not scandium, Scandinavian grind is great for wood processing, and you can skin game and of course obviously defend yourself with it. But what I like about this knife is that the handle is outstanding. It's a very stout, outstanding handle. I think this is either 01, yeah, this is 01 tool steel, and great overall length. This is a 5-inch blade. It's not heavy, it's not clumsy, it doesn't have all the crazy features that you don't need on a knife. The sheath itself is excellent. It has a lockup right here. It does have a fire steel. It's half Kydex, half leather. I mean, overall, this is a great, great knife. And I think I just pulled something out, but that's alright, we'll fix it. Alright, she's back in action. So this little screw came out. All it does is it helps the leather retention, so not really a big deal. Put a little Loctite on it and you're good to go. Now let's go into some tops over here. Alright, so this is, they call this a high, this is a version that John Campbell made, High Desert Survival School Knife. Alright, they also make this with the razor, the wood cutter or saw on the back. I think this is a decent knife. It probably would not be my best choice, but Tops makes an excellent product. 1/4 of an inch thick, 1095. This has more of a tanto tip, and I think this would be great for splitting wood. I really have no problems with this. It has like an ergo handle on it, so it's a little bit, as you see, it's a little bit bent over, so it's, or drop pointage I should say. Has a typical Tops sheath on it. Whatever, not a big fan of those sheets, but it is what it is. Okay, so I'm not going to go crazy on that. This is the Steel Eagle. This is the 107C. This has probably been Tops brand forever. It does have the saw back on the back. And this is what I was talking about when it comes to your bug out knife. Now, if you're already carrying a saw, do you really need this? No. I'm answering it for you. You do not. And I know 2 is 1 and 1 is none. I get it. But the thing is that when you start adding all this stuff to this knife, it puts it into a category. It is no longer a utility knife. It is, you just can't use it for batoning. Have you ever tried a baton with these saw teeth on it? No, you can't. It'll eat up your baton, which is not a big deal, but really what you're doing is just damaging all the saw tooths, and that's not what it's made for. I know it's a lot quicker to baton with a knife than to saw through it. Just saying. Now for this, if you are going to make traps and stuff like that, it's not a bad deal, but you can use the blade edge. The blade size is excellent. That's a good size for it. The handle is very comfortable. It has multiple lanyard loops, so I like this blade a lot. And I know they probably make a version of it that does not have sawtooth on it, so I'm okay with that. This one you probably have not seen before. Alright, this is called the Airwolf, made by Tops. It has that gray powder coat, and this is a little bit thinner. It's not 3/16 exactly, it's a little bit thinner. This is an outstanding knife for what it is. The G10 on here is super grippy. It's very thin, very simple. It does have a clip point, which may not lend itself too well for certain tasks, but this blade, I guess, is supposed to be made for like an airborne ranger, somebody that needs lightweight knives, that's comfortable in the hand, and that's going to do the work that it needs to do. Obviously, you can use it for self-defense, skin game, that kind of thing. And it's an excellent knife. I think it's about a 5-inch blade. Again, the only thing I don't like is these top sheets are really flimsy, and they do rattle a lot. Alright, so let's talk about some Bark Rivers. I'm a big fan of Bark River. As you guys know, I carry this knife in the field with me a lot. I think this is the Bravo 2, if I'm right. I might not be right. This is the Bravo 2. And what this does is this allows me to have enough blade length to do all the chores that I wanted to. So if I want to skin game, I want to use it for self-defense, firewood, whatever the case, I can. The thing about this is that it is a convex grind. And if you don't know about convex grinds, they are a pain in the ass to sharpen in the field. So probably not going to be my first pick, unless what I do is I take it and just make a V-edge on there. Okay. Now there are honing honing rods that I would use on this, as opposed to just a regular sharpening stone. I know guys that use mouse pads and all that other great stuff. And the leather sheath, again, like I said, is outstanding. I've used this knife a lot in the past, and I've taken it out into the field. Excellent, larger fixed blade knife. The next one, this is the Grassobolo 2. Again, this is the middle size. You guys seen this before. If I am going to go somewhere that I'm not coming back, I want a knife like this. And the reason is not only does it have all the features that we're talking about, the large belly on there allows a lot of processing. Okay, it has a little bit of weight. Again, with the grind on it, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. It does have the convex edge on there, which is great for chopping, sucks for sharpening. All right, so that is the Bark River. Now I have another Bark River here that I think would be ideal for it. It's suited. All right, I forget the name of this one, but it works pretty well. Again, problem being that it's a scanning. Oh, this is actually a flat grind, which is nice, and that's kind of why I picked it out, because I like that it is mostly a flat grind, but it is a little bit of a convex edge. If you can see that, it looks more convex. Excellent blade in the hand. It is a little bit longer. The sheath is a leather sheath, so you do have to take care of it. It's a little bit weightier with the leather sheath, but I think that's how Bark River makes their knives, and they're all excellent, so I could not tell you not to use that. As far as other options, all right, this is another big favorite of mine. This is Wrinkler Knives 2. This is a flat ground, and it is Parkerized. Excellent blade. This is 5160 and ideal. This is pretty much ideal knife. It's very lightweight. It starts at like a 3/16 and then has a taper on it, so it makes it very light. The handle is made out of some type of micarta, and of course also Parkerized. Excellent blade. Or I don't want to say Parkerized, it's probably some type of black oxide coating on there, so everything here is pretty much water resistant. The leather sheet that he sells with is excellent. You can see right here. Alright, so you can wear it vertical, left, right, upside down. You can flip it around, so excellent blade overall. Another cold steel. This is the Recon, I think it is, Recon Scout. It is a little bit smaller than the Trailmaster, but this is exactly the same thing as the Trailmaster, just smaller, and it's made in black. Excellent blade if you want something smaller than the Trailmaster. So the blade is smaller, but it has all the great features. It has a guard, which again you don't really need in a woods knife, but again, if you're talking about bugging out, this might be excellent for a defense knife. The grippy texture is great, and it can do wood processing. I know there's a couple people that have broke these things, so I would definitely test it. Maybe it was just a bad batch or cold weather, I don't know. But overall, these knives are excellent, and it does come with a nice Securex sheath, and it is a little bit smaller than the other blade. Like I said, this is the I'm sorry, this is the Trailmaster. So the Trailmaster and the Recon Scout. Okay, you see side-by-side comparison. Another excellent blade, and I think out of all the blades on the table, this pretty much takes the cake. It probably cost you about 70 bucks. This is the SRK by Cold Steel. If you're looking for something that is small, lightweight, can do all the tasks that I'm telling you about, this is the blade. Now, they do make these in a bunch of different blade steels. This is AUS-8, which is stainless, which is great. They do make it in, I think it's SR5 or whatever, which is the carbon steel. They make it in Sanmai, and I think now they make it in VG10. Okay, so I'm not really sure. There's a whole bunch of them. You're going to have to check out the ones that you like. Now, this has been abused multiple times on online videos. You can take a look for yourself. It has the rubber grip texture, which is excellent. It's small that you can conceal it, but the blade is 5 inches from here to here and 6 inches overall. So excellent blade for all the tasks that you need it for. And if you're looking for an under $100 price point, this is the blade that should be in your bug out kit. All right, it does come with the Secure X sheath. All right, it does have a snap on it. Super lightweight. You can reverse it if you are left-handed. So great blade overall. Now, the next couple blades I'm going to talk about are a little bit different. And with the Cold Steels, they're not exactly full tang knives. They're stick tang, which, you know, depending on where they're made, and I know most of them are made in Taiwan, they could be good or they could suck. What I would do before I put a knife in my bug out bag is to test it out. Go do all the tasks that we're talking about. Go, you know, go hunting with it, skin some game with it, go gut a fish with it, and then, you know what, process some wood, make your campfire, and if the blade breaks, then you know that's not the blade to put inside your kit. Now, like I said, and I know some people are going to get upset, but this is the Mora knife. This is the Mora Black. This is probably the only one that I would ever put inside my bug out kit if I had none of these. The Mora Black is a little bit more expensive than the other Mora knives, and it has a thicker blade steel. All right, that's the only reason why I really like this knife. What I don't like about this knife is that it's a rat tail tang. It's a very thin tang. It comes through here, comes through the handle, and it has to, because it has to fit inside this handle. Very comfortable, and you could use this for a lot of things, but batoning large sticks, if you had a saw or an axe and you wanted to go with something like this as a belt knife, it made sense. But what if you lost your saw? What if you lost your axe? And this is the only knife you had. Okay, so now you start to see where my theories are. There's some other great knives out there that I probably wouldn't pick, like this is the Thom Browne Tracker. This thing is a freaking lead weight. And I know this is supposed to be the one tool option for everything. So you can gut a fish, it has a draw knife, you can chop down wood, and it has this up here, and a fire striker, and all kinds of great stuff, and the handle is very nice. This is a brick. So what would I rather carry? Something like this or like this? Okay, so you got to understand, these angles right here are going to be a pain in the ass to try to sharpen. All right, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy this knife. I'm saying that you have to be completely aware of what you're buying. Now, if you wanted to go cheaper, and like I said, this is Condor. If you've seen this before, I forget the name of this one, but this is Condor's blade, and it's not bad for a long plain Jane knife. It's cheaper, comes with a leather sheath, but this edge sucks, so you're going to have to reprofile this edge. But again, if you're going to go with something like this, you can probably just go with the RTAC that's made of 1095. This is made out of 1075. RTAC has some, you know, pretty decent stout uses for it, and again, it's probably lighter than this, especially that it doesn't have this leather sheath. A couple other options real quick, and I know a lot of people are going to say, why don't you have this knife, or why don't you have this knife? Now, this is my Keybar 2. You guys have seen this. I've carried this in many wars, and I love this knife. Again, this is a stick tang. This is a very comfortable fighting knife. You could use it for a lot of things, and I think if you think that you're gonna have to fight your way through a horde of unruly people, this would be the blade for you. It's an excellent blade, 6-inch blade. It does have some serrations here, which I didn't like, but This one's made out of D2. Most of them will come in 1095, and it has an excellent sheath. I think that you have to go with what you're comfortable with. Now, there's a whole bunch of other blades here that I'm not really going to go over because this video is getting too long, but I think ultimately what you have to decide for yourself is the criteria. I want something that's 4 inches or larger. I want something that's a full tang knife. A carbon steel is preferred as long as you can take care of it or it's coated. If not, then go with something that's you know, stainless, obviously. The sheath is just as important as the knife, okay? If it's leather, you need to take care of it. If it's Condora, will it fall apart on me? Is it cheap? Do I have to make a Kydex sheath for it? Does that Kydex ride correctly? Like I said, I went with a left side. I changed the things around on the left side because I'm carrying a firearm on my right side. So I want my reloads to be on my left. I want my knife to be on my left, but I want my gun hand free of everything. So if I need to pull my pistol, I'm good to go. We're talking about bug out here, guys. We're not talking about I'm going into the woods and we're gonna go play camp and do all that fun stuff. I'm talking about sheer survival and what can I put in my bug out bag that's gonna help me. Now, with bug out bags in general, and I'll get into that because I have a whole bunch of bug out bags, it's gonna depend on your environment, where you live. Most people will not put their knife in their bag. They said they're gonna put it on their belt in case of the bug out, and that's bullshit. I'm telling you right now, you need to put all the tools that you're going to carry with you in that bag and have it ready to go in minutes. I have a lot of friends that have been caught out there, you know, mostly due, not civil unrest. I don't have anybody that was from Baltimore, but people that have floods, people that have fires. Keep your bug out bag close to the door, so on your way out, you just grab it. It has all the tools in there. Now, if you live in a city environment, most likely, you're not going to need any of these blades. You're going to throw on your pants, whatever you have on you, and you're going to head out the door. As far as bug out bag knives go, you can't go wrong with any of these blades here. I mean, of course, I'm highly going to suggest that you take a look at some of my own knives, and I'm sorry I keep plugging it, but you guys got to understand that, you know, I'm a businessman. I'm trying to feed the family as well. But if you went with any of the knives that you see here, please go to the Amazon link down below. I think I get like 5 cents every time you guys purchase something from Amazon, so check the links down below. Alright guys, I hope this helped a little bit, give you a little bit more idea of what a bug out knife is, or a bug out bag knife is, and talk to you soon. I hope you appreciate the series. Stay safe.